Pretty flowers and sparkling crystals are here to celebrate the season of spring. Hi, I'm Sherry here at the Little Beading Closet, and these beaded flowers are full of sparkle and finished on both sides. It's official. The Little Beading Closet is blushing. This pink glow has come about from a proud partnership with Eureka Crystal Beads. This is going to let me bring you more of the gorgeous crystal beading tutorials that you love, with some exciting new things coming very soon. In the meantime, please enjoy a very special offer of 15% off your first order with Eureka Crystal Beads when you use the discount code provided here at their checkout. I just received 2 packages of these Krakovski crystal accent mixes from Eureka Crystal Beads. Each one had a mix of 12 different rivolis and chatons, but I was so excited to start using them that I've already used the 8mm chatons for the center of these Dazzling Daisies. I love how they named this mix Summertime because look at all these bright colors. The name of this mix was Vibrant Dreams. I will leave a link in the video description so you can easily grab a pack for yourself and see all the supplies needed for the Dazzling Daisies. You're going to need 3 sizes of seed beads for this project: size 15, size 11, and size 8. And you need 5 6mm bicone crystals for the petals of your flowers, an 8mm chaton for the center, and I'll be using a wire guard for up here at the top. I highly recommend using Fireline and Crystal for this project so you don't see it in your work. But for video demonstration purposes, I'll be working with Wildfire and Black for its high visibility. Step 1, we're going to learn how to make these individual petals for the flowers. We're going to make 4 with 3 feet of beading thread, and then we'll add a new length of thread to make the 5th petal and put everything together. You'll need the size 8 seed beads, a 6mm bicone crystal, and the size 11 seed beads. Begin with 3 feet of thread on your needle to make the first 4 petals. Start by picking up 7 of the size 8 seed beads. And you'll want to bring all of those down near the end of your thread and then holding them in your hand with the tail thread facing you. You're going to needle into the 4th bead down. 1, 2, 3. So come through the 4th bead. As you pull your thread, it's going to take those 4 beads and bring them into a right angle weave shape. And that gives you this right angle weave shape at the top at the moment, and 3 beads below it. Picking up 1 more of the size 8s, skipping the next one, and coming through the one after it. So that's like a peyote stitch, and you'll see that they'll sit side by side when you pull it together, just as in peyote. So now you have 1 at the top, the 2 side by side, 1 and 2. Then you have 1 that your thread is exiting out of, and 1 below it. Picking up 1 more size 8 seed bead. This time needle up through the one on the end, and you're going to pull it together. And it may not want to sit side by side yet. It's helpful if you pull on the tail thread and your working thread to try to coax those to sit side by side. And especially if you hold it in your fingers, although you can't see what I'm doing, hold it in your fingers to give it tension when you pull your tail thread and pull the working thread and tail thread to get it side by side. When you make your petals, It's probably easier to work on your dominant side. Now we just need to fill the gaps here with size 8 seed beads. We're going to put 2 on this side, come through these beads, and add 2 on this side. So pick up one size 8 seed bead again and come through here, pulling it into this spot. And again, I really want you to put your finger over all of this. Pull on the tail thread and the working thread to get it tight. One more size 8 seed bead coming through here, pulling it into place. But again, if you put your finger on top of all this and pull, both your tail thread and working thread, it just makes it much tighter and neater. Come through the bead here at the top. Like I said, we're going to add 2 size 8s and these indentations here. So come through the first size 8, picking up one more and coming through the next one that's sticking out, and pull it into place. Again, really, you should place your finger on top, pull your tail and working thread to get that bead to sit in there nicely. One more size 8, coming through this one right here and pulling it into place. This time picking up one size 8, and we're going to come through 2 on this side. And next we're just going to put 1 8 on this side here and 1 over here. You can pick one up and come through the next 2 8s, pulling it into place. Step through the one on the end, then step down the next 2. And we have just one more 8 to put on here. And then you can needle through the next 2 8s. If it looks like you have a little gapping going on, that should correct here in just a second. Step through the one here on the end. And now this is very flat, but our flower petals are curved. So you can just push in the center with your finger and pull your thread. That will give it a little bit of a cup shape and correct the gapping. Next, you need 2 size 8s and your 6mm crystal. Coming out of this one here, needle up the end on the other side. And now your crystal and seed beads are sitting in the little cup. Needle back to the crystal and 2 seed beads you just added, pulling it tight, and then needle through the other side of the size 8 here. Now we're almost finished with this little petal. Needle through 3 of the size 8s. Pick up 4 of your size 11 seed beads and come through the one on the end. And you want those to sit on top of those 2 8s below it. And then 4 more size 11 seed beads, skipping 2 8s, come through the next 2. Let's end the thread for our petal. We'll turn it over. Needle through the bead beside the one that your thread is coming out of. And the thread will just kind of sink between the beads and disappear. Stepping up through another one. And I will come all the way up to the top and needle through the tip. So I'm coming out right there. And then come down a few more beads, maybe 2 or 3, and trim off both ends of the thread. And this is one of the petals for the flower, but we've added enough length here that we can go ahead and make all 4 petals without re-threading the needle. Once you've finished 4 of the petals and you're ready to start the 5th one, you're going to add 3.5 feet of thread to your needle. That will allow you to finish the last petal and continue working on the rest of the flower until it's complete. When you've finished making the 5th petal, you can cut the tail end off, and you want your working thread to come out exiting the seed bead right down here. So just finish needling through your beads on the back, continuing down towards the end, and then step through the bead right here. You want to be in the size 8 seed bead, furthest away from the crystal. For the next step, we're just going to be forming the flower shape, exiting your size 8 here at the end. Come through 2 more. Envision what comes next, your next petal. Coming out of these 2, you will then needle into these 2 seed beads before the very end. So work your needle through those, and you're going to bring it together. And now we need to connect them together here. Needle back through the 2 that you went through on the first petal. Your thread will form a loop between the 2 petals. Just make sure that you pull this tightly together, and then needle back down these 2, and then come through the tip here at the very end. And then repeat that process for all the petals by coming up the next 2, and then through the 2 before the tip, and back through the 2 of the second petal you added, having this thread loop and pulling them together, and needle back through the 2, securing on another petal, and then needling through the size 8 closest to the center, and repeat that process for the next 2 petals. Now that you've connected all your petals together, needle through one of the size 8 seed beads here in the very middle, and there are 2 of the seed beads before the crystal. Come through one of them, and now we are in position for the final step of adding a chaton with size 15 seed beads. This final step is so easy, you'll hardly believe it. Begin by picking up 7 of your size 15 seed beads. Now we're going to move over to the next petal. We have the crystal and 1 seed bead, and we're going to go into the seed bead after it. And now we have a loop, a size 15 seed beads. Come through the size 8 here in the base, and back up 1 size 8 towards the crystal. Just making sure that's tight. So you need 7 of the size 15 seed beads. Come over to your next petal. You have your crystal, 1 seed bead, and come into the second one underneath it towards the center. And that makes another loop, a size 15 seed beads right here. Needle through the size 8 down here in the base. And then come back up and through the size 8 where the size 15s are. There's the 2 loops of 15s. Your thread will be exiting between these 2 size 8s underneath your crystal. You pick up 7 more seed beads. Come over to the next petal. You go into not the crystal or the first seed bead underneath it, but rather the one past it. forming another loop through the seed bead here in the base, and back up your size 8, coming out next to all the 15s. So 7 more seed beads to your next petal. It's not the bicone or the first seed bead, but the one underneath it. Making another loop of 15s, needling through the size 8 here in the base, and back up the one size 8 with 7 more of the size 15 seed beads, and to form this final loop, coming to the next petal, down through the size 8 where all the size 15s are coming out of already, making the last loop of 15s, and then needle through the size 8 down here in the base, and then back up through the one above it. So now this is what it is looking like. I'm going to hold it at a little bit of a different angle. Since there are 7 seed beads here in this loop, the midway point is 4. So go ahead and come through 4, picking up 3 more of the size 15 seed beads. I'm going to rotate the piece to the next loop. So on each one of these loops, we're going to be needling through the 4th bead, putting 3 on each side, go through the 4th one, that's going to give you a little triangle of beads here. So again, 3 more seed beads. Come through the 4th one on the next loop. So we're making a little cradle for our chaton to sit in. 3 of the seed beads, making sure that you go through the 4th one of the loop and repeating that again. When you're down to the point of adding the last 3 to close the last gap, go ahead and sit your chaton inside and kind of give it a pull. So you have your last 3 seed beads, and then like before you come through the 4th one up in your loop, although you've already added 1 set of 3 on the other side, so make sure you get the right one. And you're going to want to close that in around the chaton. It looks cute on the back with the pink. It really stays nicely into place with this design. And then you want to retrace the size 15 seed beads here on top. I'm going to needle through 3, and then the 1, and then 3 again, and then the 1. As you've noticed, we're going through all the beads and not skipping the 1 like some patterns. It's just a design choice on this. I like the little bit more rounded look on the top of this. I guess because it's a flower, I don't want it to be too much of a star shape. But it's up to you. You could skip it if you want to get more of a point on the ends. So just retrace all these size 15s on the top. Just doing this gives them a little bit more structure to hold their shape. And now that we've retraced this top section of 15s one time. We're going to come over here to add a wire guard. That way you can have a beautiful pair of earrings or attach a veil and make it into a necklace. Needle through the 3 size 15s, and then you can come through your 8 and 6 millimeter crystal and needle back through the size 8 up here at the very top. And if you want, you can put a wire guard right here, coming back through your size 8 seed bead, or don't use a wire guard and just use seed beads to form a loop by coming back through your size 8. You could really finish it off any way you want. Having the wire guard does allow you to easily attach an ear wire. This would make really fun earrings. Another option is, let's say you have a toggle clasp and just want to use one part of it. So you have a large loop to hang this from. Let's say you're envisioning making a necklace with a lot of larger beads. I hope those options help you for deciding on how you want to finish off your piece. And I'll leave it up to you how you would like to finish yours off. Just when you do, come back through your beadwork to secure your thread. Thanks for making the Dazzling Daisies with me. Please let me know what colors you've made. And as always, I hope you have a beautiful day.